Hey guys, market cap. So a couple of chart draws that I've done. You're looking at the current one that's live, but I have taken some screenshots. So let's pop over to the screenshots. That's a screenshot. That's actually Ethereum. Set that one aside. That wasn't where we were meant to be. That's the existing screenshot. I have done some annotations on one, and this is the bear scenario. So don't wet the bed at the bear scenario just yet. There's plenty of time. Things aren't going to change in a single minute. There is a risk that we have a 500 billion market cap neckline running through there. Just run, then support, just run, then support, support again, grind line, upside HVF, just about made target there for the 810-ish. Call, billion market cap call. That was at $20,000. Bitcoin down she goes. Bitcoin, interestingly enough, its inverted structure all dovetailing in and around the $10,000. That also works in with the 500 billion market cap. So when you're seeing the market cap around sub 500, you're seeing Bitcoin sub 10,000. The other coins relatively are not as bad as Bitcoin relatively. So that means Bitcoin is bleeding market cap, and its main rival, something like Ethereum on a platform-based basis, is doing rather well, which was that melt-up chart that you just saw over there. Bear in mind, though, in terms of tether, you probably still walked backwards slightly. You want to have a look at the Ethereum versus the dollar for that one. In spite of that, Ethereum dollar doesn't look bad. So I think rather than being entirely out of crypto, I'd prefer to be in a strong crypto that might be holding its ground against dollar, just in case these things suddenly turn and go bullish, because then you're in a losing streak with it. But that is a bit of a blow-off moment now, so don't all charge into Ethereum. That's a bit of a blow-off moment there. You see it 12.2s and then a sell-off. It's a bit of a blow-off moment now on your overperformance. So be careful now. Now's not the time to charge by Ethereum. Otherwise, you'll wear a bit of a loss on Neo, and then you'll jump into Ethereum just in time to wear a pullback on Ethereum, and then you're going to feel like you're reacting and you're the 91% instead. Neo, in the meantime, has actually, it did sell off a slightly worse, just so that you know, but it has put in a hammer prior to, and I am in Neo still, it has put in a hammer prior to, I'll give us the Neo chart, please. It has put in a hammer prior to the stop run. Not the hugest hammer, but acceptable, and there's been an element of pushback. There was a bit of a continuation then for downside. It could base out for a while here and survive, which means that H2 has survived. There could be a very complex, very broad H2. I don't like that scenario near as much, so I'd prefer to see this survive, obviously apart from the emotional element of wearing it off. Let's have a look at that first impulse a little bit more. So it is a big first impulse, but it would be a very messy second if that turned out to be the second high. So my goal is I would start to cycle into Tether if we get further downside at this juncture. So let's then have a look at the Bitcoin here. You see, you've just made that fractal on the downside. Note how the 10 key level of significance is highly significant here. So 9997, 10,004. Not getting it exactly. It's basically the blue dashed line. So I'll do key levels of significance at round numbers in dark blue generally. Purple means targets and interims. So this is an interim. That's not too far away. We could even push past for that. You're not getting a mega rally here, but the spill for now is over. But Bitcoin structure is weak. Bitcoin structure is weak on this time frame, which is hourly. What we probably have is the Bitcoin chart draw that I did and posted earlier, but let's just remind everybody of it. Taking a look at the Snagit, I think she'd be there. And we have it there. So that was posted to Basecamp. Stay on Basecamp with that. I haven't got the target in there of the micro fractal, but it's stepped down a little lower and ran that. You've seen on the lighter. So that's your inflection points. So the view is that was just about the first qualifier, hence this 50% fib, George, remember that there, and then that's your spill, that's return move to the funnel, little micro fractal over performance, another mini fractal, and dip down. That's running all the support and sellers into selling, and then you might get a bit of churn and pushback, and it'll do the same there. Roughly when you run that interim, you'll just overperform to that low one and through there, and then all the short sellers will charge in. So Bitcoin is weak. Bitcoin is indeed weak, and we've got a cluster of targets from 6,000 down to 7,000 down to 7.6. So taking it back to the market cap jaws, taking it back to the market cap, Jaws, there's a legitimate concern here. However, the market cap has done better than Bitcoin. The market cap has done better than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, if we keep jumping between the two, you need to see it probably on a bigger time frame to reflect that. So let's just see if I can go BTC on a daily here. You'll recognize that Bitcoin is bleeding percentage in terms of market cap to the other guys. So that is a big pullback, and you can see the differences in the charts between Bitcoin now on a daily and the market cap. So that's the big melt up. This is all a big inverted, and there is quite a bit of scary downside, and there's just absence of bid. There's just absence of bid moments. Real sell-off, real sell-off, real sell-off, huge sell-off, real sell-off, and another firm sell-off. So you've got to work on the assumption that there's going to be performance potentially to the downside. Now, if Bitcoin's doing that, cryptocurrency market cap could indeed be contracting, and this particular call on the market cap over here, assuming that back up, could indeed get some recognition. So we are still, this market cap update is not accurate. It's showing us as being above the 500 billion market cap line. So there's a delay on coin market cap for giving us the charting. If I want to refresh that, it should hopefully reflect a little bit something more bearish and closer to where we truly are right now. Let's just once again squeeze this data up. Squeezy, Japanesey up and no. So there we're getting a market cap reflection that now actually shows the 475. So that is closer to how we are doing now, and it is now reflecting. So that's Feb the 1st at 12:47 UTC that we're getting that showing, and it's 11 minutes past 3 here. So it is lagging some bit. I think it's lagging by the better part of 13 and 11, 24 minutes. So these charts do lag, and that's why it didn't capture the sell-off in Bitcoin there. So this is where we're at on the Bitcoin. If we have a look at it and the market cap, if we have a look at it again, as I say, there is head and shoulder structure in here. There's real head and shoulder structure in the market cap. We're one of the very few. I don't know anyone else. A few have copied us since we started doing market cap analysis, but I don't know anyone else has been doing market cap analysis and patterns on that, and this could be dangerous. However, bear in mind that head and shoulders to date generally don't always perform. They have a patchy record, and reversals don't perform in this highly expansive market. So this could mean also that you're having a bit of you've got a cloud over you, but you can't be sure that you can afford to be out. If you chase out in a hurry at these low levels, the structure, just when it seems its most bearish, can then form this could all be one big complex first impulse. Let's say it fails to run this low, but it dips a little lower, and then you get a pumpy move giving you a nice big second impulse, and we get a macro HVF to the upside that just has this head and shoulder DNA complexity in it, where it's shaken its head and had this big old rest. We have had this happen before. What you got to ask is it going to happen again, or is this the big sell-off? Is it a big sell-off? We do have a fair amount of HVF structure, both on the upside left shoulder, which is hence the drawing that I was showing you here, which I've annotated to a much better degree. Not the Ethereum pump. In fact, we won the market cap. Let's have it one more time. Sorry. There we go. So we do have upside HVF to 800 billion through the 800 billion mark. And then we do have inverted here. So this does make this a legitimate potential short. And that would be a big sell-off. And a lot of people will be very upset and very sore. A lot of people will have watched their money halve, etc. So if I do this again, I think we'll be down by the 475. That line should be a lot lower. I don't know why this morning. Actually, it says January 29. It took ages to update. We're the first. That's a really old market cap. It seems my browser must not have refreshed. This chart already feels quite strongly out of date. So I might just annotate it again. It's a bit of a headache, but do that one again, because we're certainly a lot lower. Let's see how it's looking now, and let's just see if it's worth it. So you can see that we've probably broken already and are in the structure for that element of downside. I want to have it roughly the same time leg in it, so let's just have a look so that it has a similar look to the one I've just done previously. How far back did I go? It seems I went back to 20th November, 1 week into 20th November. Anyway, I'll sort that out because that chart already needs to be updated. And I'll sort that up, but it's clear that there is risk to the downside, and there can be a case for being in fiat during these times. We do have Acapulco and BCC, but they are only really just holding value with Bitcoin and riding down. So the only one for now that has shown a little bit of backbone against the contracting is Ethereum, but it's going to rest. We've covered that. You saw the chart for Ethereum one more time. Let's just have a look at it. Not that one. Let's get the other one. You'll see it one more time here. It has shown a bit of backbone against dollar, but you know, it still hasn't made its second interim, and it is drifting off. So this could be time for a little bit of tether, but if this then eventually goes, you've got a nice move for Ethereum. Now Neo had similar, but this impulse was slightly smaller still, and it's already fairly small in structure for even Ethereum, but I wouldn't think that that's all the way up there is an H2. That would be a very long leg, but it could be. We could grind down, run that yellow, and then put in a low 2 and have this highly complex second impulse. That would be painful for us. We don't particularly want that. We'd prefer that the structure already has support in it and will hold. But if you have a mega contraction, that can be the case. So I'm running through the scenarios for you so that you're equipped. I'll be standing 2, I believe, with Ethereum, but I will certainly look for a greater degree of outside of crypto and just rebalance fiat holdings maybe. Let's just take a flash by some of the others. Litecoin, yeah, it's sort of holding. ADA's been disappointing. These are these newer ones, that these new market cap heroes are going to take a real beating. So that's been disappointing. Most of the others are going to be disappointing. Look at IOTA. It's been disappointing again. It's real tease, and it's not shown much relative strength to this Bitcoin. That little fractal was correctly observed, but incorrectly suggested direction. That's why you've always got to think, can it be in all directions? The Bitcoin sell-off will lean, and that's amazing how it's squeezed and then timed for the Bitcoin sell-off. We also had ICX that has failed. So these smaller new kings are being found out. How long before the other ones also come under similar pressure, we wonder. Some will survive potentially. The bigger time frame ones, some may survive, but you can certainly say that's a disappointment also for the guys that were in ICX. In other words, the Bitcoin and the market cap narrative is dominating. This is why it's not been a great hunting season. You'll have a higher level of failure in an environment like this, much higher than is typical, because it's just not chilled, something's trending, something's cooling. It's an entire contraction in the marketplace. So it's spoiling a lot of patterns that had done well to the second interim, and that's a proper spoil. And you know, that's just no longer upside HVF structure. So we've got to bear this all in mind, that there's pain being taken. So you've got to consider now your defensive position and realize that this winter is extending a little bit. It's not necessarily all over, and even the strongest might come into some pressure. So, but see the opportunity in this. If you do something you hate to do and you're in fiat and tether, you buy back in at another point when everyone else's butt hurts, can't afford to hold on anymore, rode the journey up and is now riding the journey all the way down again. You'll take their coins off for them real dirt cheap, and when the spring and the summer season does come, you'll have a greater Bitcoin valuation. And if Bitcoin's no longer the king for valuation, you'll have the benchmark indice of all coins, much higher relative valuation for the next bull cycle. So it's all just about timing and persevering and seeing how everything moves. So that's your flash update. It would be remiss not to entirely show you BCC wearing a little bit of relative loss. Not done an ADA, more established coin, not done a ICX. It is more established a coin, but it is also bled a bit even to BTC. So still not yet showing relative strength like the Ethereum has done, which is an entirely different approach. Remember, Bitcoin Cash is kind of Bitcoin. In fact, it claims to be the real Bitcoin. So, they're in the same boat. The one bleeds, they both bleed. The different models, the platform-based model is actually getting its season now, and that's why Ethereum, as the most established, has been a fairly decent park-up point. Okay, I'm going to park this, and hopefully this is useful to you. And don't chase into Tether at the worst possible moment. Bitcoin could just churn a little bit for now. It's had a huge down day now. But we want to recognize that this is not a good season, and that fractal making it's not a big rally, and we might have further downside performance there. Okay, that could be crypto market cap downside as well. Speak to you all soon.